Us football fans get lucky, don't we? Multiple different seasons all year round from different countries all across the world.
Also different cups, like Champions League and Europa League, putting the best teams in Europe against each other. But every 2 years we get treated to either the World Cup or the Euros, putting countries against each other, showcasing the greatest players they have from their respected country in a huge tournament to find out who's best. However, I'm sure everyone is aware that the old coronavirus threw some spanners in the works and the Euros for this year have been postponed till next year. That's why I decided to give UEFA Euros 2000 a bash to fill the void.
So let's see if the flair we seen on the pitch from that year's tournament translates well into this game nearly 20 years later. This is UEFA Euro 2000 for the PlayStation 1. I hope you enjoy.
UEFA Euros 2000 originally came out in April of 2000 for Windows PC. We will be looking at the PlayStation 1 version of the game today though. Developed by EA Canada and published by EA Sports, the same folk who developed and published the FIFA games, so really it's a glorified version of the FIFA games that came out around about those times. The intro package to the game is exactly what you'd expect from a football game of its time, showcasing the game's graphics and gameplay with some hard-hitting trance beats by Paul Oakenfold, who provided all the in-game music for this. This was really about the time EA were pushing the whole, look, we can make players look really F. Impressive for its time of course, but a bit hilarious to see now. Onto the main menu, and there's a few options to choose from, but seeing as it's been since I reviewed FIFA 99 last year that I've played a football game this old, I decided to have a look at the skill drills to refresh my mind a bit. It's broken up into different categories to choose from, and to be honest really helped me to wrap my head around the controls. Now that's out the way, let's get into why I decided to play this game in the first place, and that's the actual Euro 2000 mode. You pick a team out of 51 squads available. I was originally going to go Scotland because, well, that's where I'm from, but decided to settle with France. The Arsenal connection from that time was too strong for me to pass up on the opportunity to play as some of my footballing idols growing up. Seeing as the Euros is played in a tournament style, you'll have to play through the group stages, qualifying stages, quarters, semis, and the final if you make it that far. Let's get into the gameplay now. There's not much to say really. Much like the intro, it's exactly what you'd expect from a football game of its time. It's pretty fast paced and over the top compared to today's standards of football simulation games. When in possession of the ball, your player will have a ring around him indicating when a player can pull off a successful pass or not. Seeing as you don't see much of the pitch when controlling the ball, to counter this problem, that ring around the bottom of your player indicates perfectly if you can pull off a pass or cross successfully. If red, you won't make the pass, but if yellow, you have a 50-50 chance, and if green, you'll make the pass without any problems. The tackling system is great also. There are a number of different tackling moves you can use. While trying to regain possession of the ball, you can tap the circle button to chase down a player and successfully pull off a conservative tackle to get the ball back without any issue. An aggressive tackle by pressing square, and it's a 50-50 chance you'll get the ball or not, but I'm sure everyone who played football games from this time won't remember the last two tackles I mentioned. They'll remember this one.
Hey, could be a card here.
Oh yes, the good old-fashioned harmful tackle, which does exactly what it says on the tin. This is for when you have absolutely no intention of winning the ball whatsoever. A player skins you? Harmful tackle. Fed up with the game? Harmful tackle. Missed a good chance for a goal? Fuck it, the keeper's getting it. Veteran players of these football games will remember the keeper always getting half, but for anyone curious about playing this, please note that this will always guarantee you a red card and a player being sent off. I just can't help myself sometimes though. There are skill moves you can use also. A sideways shimmy, which to be honest I never used much. A hurdle, which when timed perfectly is the most ideal move to pull off when one-on-one with the keeper. A 360 spin that is perfect for anywhere on the pitch, but my absolute favourite was the flick over. If this isn't the best goal scored on this game ever, then I don't know what is. I do miss the simplicity with how you pull off skill moves in football games these days. Nowadays you have to practice them for weeks on end till you've got down to a T. What was wrong with just tapping a button? A perfect example of less is more. This sort of goes without saying, but depending on what difficulty you're playing on, you'll get a completely different experience. On amateur difficulty, the opposing team are pretty dumbed down. don't make as many tackles, and just let you fly by them most of the time. To get the best experience possible, I'd suggest playing on professional difficulty. Players on the other team will be a lot more aggressive, pull off some skill moves of their own, and be more determined to try and win the ball back, even in risky places like their own box, sometimes resulting in you getting a penalty. I'm not gonna lie though, I altered between the two difficulties. I didn't want to risk getting so far to then only get beaten and knocked out and have to restart the whole tournament from the beginning. Once you get to the final and win, that's you pretty much completed the game. It's great to play through and pretty refreshing to play a football game that doesn't take itself as seriously as games out now. Each game you play is complemented with John Motson and Mark Lawrenson on commentary, which really, they only speak when necessary, unlike today's football games when the commentators just spout the most utter shite over and over again. I thought it was a nice touch how they keep you up to date with scores from games going on with teams that are in the same group as you.
Russia claimed the victory in their match, full time there.
Makes the whole live experience a bit more realistic. The fans this time round sound a lot more better as well compared to FIFA 99. I remembered the fans in that game just sounding like the noise was coming through a tin can, but they've got it pretty well done in this one. The graphics for the most part look great. Players stand out well, and seeing the old school advertisement boards that were actually used in that year's Euro tournament are great. The kits look brilliant also. I had that France top when I was younger from this tournament, so it's nice seeing it once again in game form. One thing that is a kick in the balls though is how I said about the intro with them showing off the real scan technology. They done the same with the FIFA 2000 intro, and let's be honest, the players look hee-haw like their real life counterparts. Maybe if they spent more time making the players look real rather than Robbie Williams and Paul Oakenfield, they'd have something to shout about. Henry? What have they done to you? Perez? Vieira? They all look fucked. There was even a few instances when the French keeper Fabien Barthez, who is bald in real life by the way, in school we used to call him Baldy Barthez, started to grow hair during the matches then lose it again. What the fuck? Anyway, once you have completed the game you'll unlock classic mode, but it's really just another European tournament with the same teams but with the players from different decades, so there's no need to go into great detail about it. I enjoyed my playthrough, so when it came to research and how the game was received by players and critics, I was a tad bit shocked. It was absolutely slated by most who reviewed it at the time. It was heavily compared to the likes of FIFA 2000, saying that the game felt rushed, and apart from having a nice updated menu feature, crowd noises and commentary, it didn't warrant the shelf life. I got a good laugh while reading one review that said it lacked fewer teams than FIFA 2000. Well, of course it would, wouldn't it? Did you honestly expect that you'd be able to take Leeds to the final of the Euros? I get that the FIFA games not only had club teams, but also included international teams, but this game was advertised as a Euros game, so I wouldn't have been shocked back then buying this and finding out I couldn't play as Arsenal. To be fair, I can see why players would feel left out of pocket though, because to today's standards this would and should come as a free DLC, which I do know FIFA has done in the past when a game's release corresponds to a European tournament or World Cup taking place. A few who reviewed this back in the day said it's best just to wait for the release of FIFA 2001, which I suppose is fair. I reckon if I was this age back then I wouldn't have paid for this, but I'm glad I played it many years later. To be honest, since my last football game review of FIFA 99 I did last year, I'm still not paying for the latest FIFA releases. I have however played them at friends' houses who don't play or own the Pro Evolution Soccer games like I do, and I can honestly say they're still an absolute mess how I remember them being, and honestly only still focus on getting the consumer to fork out more money through buying FIFA points with their own hard-earned cash. How is this form of gambling still legal? I'll never know.
Surprisingly, I did enjoy playing through this. There isn't much replayability to it, but all in, considering I'd never played it before and had no nostalgic feelings attached to it, I enjoyed it. So I do recommend it to anyone who may be interested in playing this sometime. Anyway, that was my review of Euro 2000 for the PlayStation 1. As always, if you haven't already and enjoyed this video, please subscribe to be kept up to date with future content I upload, and yep, probably see you in the next one. Bye.